Checking 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. All right, welcome in everybody. It's been a long time since we've done a live stream. I think the last time we did it was when Trev Alberts left for Texas A&M. One of the worst days I've had in a while as a Nebraska fan. That was tough, but we're back. I mean, it's been about a month or two talking about some Nebraska recruiting, talking about the spring game. We're going to be looking over some quarterback film tonight, so pretty big loaded show. Make sure to smash that like button if you are going to enjoy this tonight. But yeah, let's just dive into it. 1 second real quick. I want to see if my chat's going to work today. See if I can figure this out. Last time the chat did not work. And yeah, okay. I think it's going to work. Perfect. Okay, sweet. What's up, Dion? All right, so I think it's going to work today. The chat, and yeah. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. All right, let's just dive right into it. Let's start talking about recruiting today. Hopefully, my setup's not too it's lagging a little bit. But let's just start it off looking over the 2025 class, talking about these guys a little bit, and then talking about some of the visitors we had recently, whether that was in the spring game, whether that was going on into May, going on into June. So we got some commits as of recent. Look at Jackson Carpenter, of course. I did a film reaction about him. Bigger body, receiver, a guy that honestly I feel comfortable putting him on defense if it works out that way. Of course, Kingdom Moss released a film reaction about him on Wednesday. Dynamic athlete. And then we recently got two guys that I have not covered. This is when I was in LA last week. Bear Tenney, a tight end out of Utah, listed as a 3-star. Has a bunch of really good offers. Let's look at his offer list here really quick. And I was really impressed when I was looking through this. I mean, you see basically everybody is offering this guy despite the fact that he's only a low 3-star. Let's look at this here. Arkansas, Auburn, Cal, Colorado, Florida, Georgia, LSU, Miami, Michigan, Ohio State, Oklahoma. Look at that offer list. Yeah, I mean, I've not dived into his film just yet, but you look at the measurables right now, 6'5", 250. Yeah, I mean, definitely a good prospect. One real quick I'm interested to see here if we have his stats listed here on Max Preps. So right now, this has him listed from Texas. I wonder if he transferred high schools. But let's go ahead and look at this. Dang it. Okay, they do not have his stats on Max Prep. So, again, we're just going to have to dive into his film. That'll be coming up next week. So really interested to see him. And then we got another guy. And this is the standard Matt Rhule edition, Tanner Turk. I did watch this guy on film a little bit. And he's everything that Matt Rhule looks for in a receiver. Super fast, twitchy athlete. Really underrated. I wasn't a huge fan of this edition, to be completely honest with you. Specifically because you're going after so many talented 4-star receivers, Emmanuel Choice, Michael Terry. We already have 3 wide receiver commits in this class. To put that into perspective, over the last 2 classes, we've got over 10. We really cannot take more than 4 receivers this class. In my opinion, you don't need to rush this guy's commitment. Looking at his offer list, again, only Army was coming after him. From my perspective, with a guy like Tanner Turk, there is upside with him. Like, I don't hate this kid. But you don't need to land his commitment in May, right? You're going after Michael Terry. You're going after Emmanuel Choice. Let's say that both of those kids decide to go to a different school than Nebraska. Then you can go ahead and offer Tanner Turk. But you don't need to land him right now. At the end of the day, though, it is what it is. Rhule likes these kind of project players, likes guys who are really raw, have that good upside. He takes another player there. So those are the commits here. And really quick, I want to dive into... let's dive into the guys who are visiting here very soon. There we go. Let's take it back. Okay. So these are the guys who are visiting over the summer. Let's go down the list here. So, of course, Emmanuel Choice, Antonio Branch, Michael Terry, guys who were all here for the spring game. Cortez Mills, the guy I did not mention, wide receiver. So that's why I wasn't a big fan of the Tanner Turk kid. You were going after 3 3 top 200 receivers. You already have 3 receiver commits, and none of those guys, in my opinion, are super high quality. Jackson Carpenter, again, I like his upside. I think he's a big body target, but he's not a player I foresee is going to be, an NFL draft pick. Who was the other guy? Hold on. Tanner Turk. Yeah, Tanner Turk. I like the upside there, but he's not a player who's going to play within his first 2-3 years, right? And then Bryson Hayes was my favorite of the bunch. I love Bryson Hayes. I think he's really underrated, but still, if I had a choice between Bryson Hayes or Michael Terry, I would be stupid not to pick Michael Terry, of course, right? So, wasn't a huge fan of the way Rhule kind of did that. And that's the same thing that Frost did all the time that I just wasn't a huge fan of when it comes to recruiting was Frost would get 4 stars and 5 stars on campus all the time. And he would basically give up on those guys in April and May and get a bunch of 3-star commits. And it's like, guys, we're still in the running for these players. You can land that 3-star at any point in time around the recruiting cycle. But, I mean, it is what it is, right? I mean, Rhule's the coach. I'm not, so I'm going to trust him on this one. But Tanner Turk, one of those players with that upside. So, talking about some of the guys who are coming on campus later down the road, let's talk about Broderick Shull real quick, man. This should get you fired up. 6'5", 275, and current Auburn lead. One thing I love about this dude, I followed him on Twitter the other day, and he is in show choir. He's posting about choir. He's posting about him being in the school play. Rhule loves these guys who are in multiple activities. I'm not sure we've seen too many players who are in choir, but I really like that. It's kind of like a Kirk Cousins type of thing. If you're unfamiliar with Kirk Cousins, quarterback for the Falcons, he was in show choir when he was in high school. So I thought that was kind of funny. But Broderick Shull, on the serious note, very interested in Nebraska. When I was watching him on film, loved him in the pass pro specifically. Super developed, really big kid. A lot of good weight on him. I'm not. A lot of times, these 4 stars, these 5 stars, they got a belly on them, right? They're not as big in the muscle department. They're more big in the fat department. Not the case here at Broderick Shull. If anything, you'd probably want to put on a little bit of weight, but it's all good weight that he has right now. Honestly, the offer list for him being a 5-star is a little bit slimmer than you'd expect. A lot of the big schools, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, haven't really offered this guy, but I truly do not understand why. He plays for one of the best high schools in the country in Bixby. Really good player. Hopefully Nebraska can land him, but he's coming on a visit very soon, and we'll talk about him more extensively in some follow-up videos. Nicholas Clayton's another guy. Really haven't watched him too much, but love his upside. And then looking through some of the other dudes. And Manti I've talked about in the past. Hawaii kid, Polynesian Pipeline, Corey Sims, wide receiver. Corey Sims, 6'4", man. Again, every single one of these receivers that Matt Rhule's going after, 2 things. Speed, height. Corey Sims has that. And then this is a big recruiting weekend. This is the biggest recruiting weekend we have. We have Jack Lang, who we were in the mix for. We never were projected to land him. He currently is committed to Missouri. Not sure if that visit is still on or if that's off now that he's committed to the Tigers. So I don't expect to land him anyways. Jalen Williams is a player who we had interest in early on in the process. Haven't heard a lot from him as of recent. He's a Michigan lead, so watch out for that. But here's where it starts to get interesting. You have Jamarion Parker. Big time player. That is your next bell cow running back if Nebraska can land him. You have Bryson Weber, one of those lockdown corners. Again, you see him 6'3", 175. And then a couple in-state guys. Chase Lofton, the number 1 player in the state of Nebraska, according to On3. You have another Polynesian player, Kaden Vermas, Riemann Ziebert, who is another tight end in-state who, in my opinion, is that backup option. If you don't land Chase Lofton, you go ahead and get Ziebert. So recruiting is starting to pick up, and again, over these next couple of weeks, we're going to see a lot more names on these visiting lists because of the fact that spring practices all over. Coaches, Matt Rhule is doing this. Every single coach on Nebraska's staff is doing this. They're going on vacation over the next 2 weeks, and they're going to get right in the recruiting game. They're not going to be in Lincoln. They're going to be visiting out west in Texas, Florida. They're going to be visiting 24/7, hosting official visits, right? So it's officially recruiting season, and that's my favorite season. So, yeah, really going to be interesting over the next couple weeks. Yeah, there are a lot of guys visiting Dion, but it's going to even pick up even more. So let's get into something that I really wanted to do in this live stream. And let's talk about, here's my Twitter. Let's talk about the quarterbacks. Okay. let's talk about the quarterbacks and what they did throughout the spring game, because I think there's a lot of misconceptions about how well Raiola played, how well Harberg played, and I'm going to actually get into film in this live stream about every single one of them. But let's start about Harberg, because in my opinion, there was a false narrative around Hinrich Harberg that he was wildly improved in the spring game and that he's going to be a competent quarterback too. Listen, Harberg had his highs in that spring game. He also had his lows. But I'm going to tell you two things. One, it was a scrimmage. That is nothing more. It was a scrimmage. It's not actual game. It's not, you're playing Michigan, you're playing Iowa, right? You're playing Nebraska's backups. Okay, it was a scrimmage. That's number one. And number two, yeah, I mean, he still had his lows. He still had his moments where it's clear that he's still not developed as a quarterback. His progressions were not great. He oftentimes ran the football when he had no business doing so. He didn't step up in the pocket well enough. That arm strength was evident at times, but the accuracy was not. So I just feel like I've been getting a lot of comments on my channel like, Wilson, why are you so critical about Hinrich Harberg? It's just the fact that he's going into his, fourth, fifth year of college, and we still have the same issues that we thought would be resolved by now. And at the end of the day, yeah, I don't think he's a good quarterback, two. I don't think he's a good quarterback, one. And I don't think he's ever going to be that. And I'm rooting for Hinrich Harberg, obviously, as are all of us, but I was disappointed from what I saw in the spring game. I really expected him to go out and have a little bit of a better showing, but we're going to jump into his film in a little bit. I'm going to talk about Kalin here very quick before we dive into Harberg. Talking about Kalin, I mentioned in my recent video, I talked about it in the spring game wrap-up video as well, that I think Kalin is a project. And we saw that on the spring game. That was another thing that drew some comments from people. Danny Kalin's not a project. Danny Kalin did not play good on Saturday, guys. He did not. His accuracy was really bad. Progressions were really bad. Again, you saw that arm talent. And that's my thing with him, is that he's so freaking talented. There's no debating that. His ceiling is super high. But Danny Kalin's a true freshman, folks. And true freshman quarterbacks do not do well. Okay, me saying that Danny Kalin's a project is not an insult to him. Okay, 99% of true freshman quarterbacks are projects. His ceiling's really high, but if you put Danny Kalin in the game this year, it means something wild has gone wrong. It means everything has gone wrong. And of the people or, putting him out there because, yeah, he just wasn't good enough. He wasn't good enough in the spring game. And again, I'm going to remind you guys of this. The spring game was one scrimmage. It was one scrimmage. They've had a million scrimmages throughout spring practice. This one just happened to be public. So a lot of people, I think, are just overreacting or saying things that really have no substance. But, yeah, that really just was not impressed with Harberg or Kalin, to be completely honest with you. So let's dive into the film. And hopefully this isn't too laggy. I'm going to monitor this really quick. But let's go into Hinrich Harberg's film over the spring game. We're going to be breaking this down live. So, yeah. All right, so sharing my screen with you. Hopefully this loads. Oh, brother. Oh, brother. Okay, you know what? Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Because it is not loading the way. There we go. Finally loads. All right, cool. Cool. Let me know in the comment section if it is glitchy at all or if it's low quality, because I'm still trying to figure this out doing this live. But let's just start it off with Hinrich Harberg. Quick shout out to my guy on Twitter, Huskers Film. Give him a follow. He basically compiles everybody, all the quarterbacks, some of the players from the spring game, and posts them on Twitter. So really, really good stuff there. So let's start it off with Harberg. This was the first possession of the game. Again, let me know down below in the comments if it's laggy or whatnot. Or excuse me. Yeah, I do have it shared. Perfect. All right. So a little dump off to start there. Again, same deal. Just quick dump offs. They really tried to get him in a rhythm early. They didn't want to throw him in the fire. And yeah, that was 1, 2, 3 on that possession, 3 and out. Again, good job standing tall in the pocket. Just waited a little bit too long to throw that football down the middle. And that one was way off. That could have been picked. So right off the bat, I was watching that first possession. I was like, oh my goodness, Hinrich Harberg. That was really bad. 2 checkdowns and then just a miss across the middle. Now, he did play better in these next couple ones. Obviously, this was a pretty significant overthrow. Again, same deal where he just threw this ball way too late. And he threw it not accurate at all. Now, this was an absolute dot. Shout out to Jacory Barney for this catch. This is the Harberg that we expected coming out of Kearney Catholic. Okay. Dropping back in the pocket. Good step up here. Beautiful throw. Getting right where Jacory Barney can get it. That's a really good throw. And yeah, Barney made a great play. Barney, man, by his stock, he balled out. So a little dump off there. I believe that was Nair who made that play. Again, just a couple checkdowns. Nothing really to write home about. This was a great play. Beautiful play to Nate Borkature right across the middle. Oh, just standing up. But it should be noted that Nate Borkature was his first progression. He was eyeing him down the entire play. We saw that a couple of times throughout the season last year where, he would see Fedoni across the middle and just absolutely eye him down. Kind of same deal here. Only one progression, but good job again. Once again, step up in the pocket. Great zip. Just fit that in through the zone. Nate Borkature, they didn't show the rest of that play, but man, Nate Borkature is slow, dude. I was watching that, and he got ran down immediately. Oh, mate. Oh, man. So another check down here. So watch his eyes here. First progression's not there, but just, nothing. See, this, in my opinion, was probably Harberg's best rep. And it wasn't flashy at all. It was not flashy in the slightest. He didn't really make a big play. He didn't score a touchdown. But watch his eyes here. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. I went completely back. Here we go. Here we go. It's this rep. Okay. Oh, my goodness. It's the next one. Sorry about that. We're just going to have to rewatch these. All right. It's this rep. Watch his eyes here. Nothing, 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 nothing. Bang. Steps on the pocket. Basically goes to his third progression and puts that on the money. That was awesome by Harberg. Love this play concept. You see this all the time in the NFL. It's a little option, a little dump off. Love that. Easy way to get a couple yards. It's a goal line play as well. But what I saw from Harberg was basically a lot of the stuff that we saw last year, where when you have Harberg in the ball game, Matt Rhule does not want to embarrass him. He doesn't want to lose. So you're seeing a bunch of checkdowns. You're seeing a bunch of plays inside 5 yards because he knows that Harberg isn't able to read a defense very well. He knows that Harberg isn't really that developed as a quarterback. So we saw numerous checkdowns, which I was not really happy with. But this was a questionable play at best to end it off. That was Harberg's worst rep by far. No idea what he was doing there. So, yeah, that is Harberg. Let's get in the comment section here real quick. Hopefully that was not laggy for you guys. Isaiah says Jamal Banks' no-show was a very bad look. Again, it's the same thing that I said before, is the fact that we've had a million scrimmages over spring practice. Okay, this was just one scrimmage. So I'm not overreacting if one player didn't play his best game or another guy, actually balled out, right? Jamal Banks is receiver one. I mean, it's just the way it is. I feel really good about him in his future, but I was disappointed. I want to see cool jump balls from him. We didn't see basically anything. Dion says Banks was held out. Is that the case? That's the first time I'm learning about that. Banks was held out. Oh. Was he one of the veterans who was held out of the game? Yeah, okay. Nair is a game changer. Ivan Marquez, number one receiver. Isaiah Nair is receiver 3. He's a really, really solid player, and we saw that at Wyoming, and his injuries derailed his career. But Jalen Lloyd, you got to give respect to Jalen Lloyd and how well he played in that scrimmage, how well he played last year. I think Jalen Lloyd's receiver 2, and Jamal Banks is your guy. She's your guy. Trust me on that one. Barney's going to be a star. Oh, yeah. I'm so excited about Barney, man. We have some really good true freshman receivers. And let's give respect to Davon Hall as well. He didn't really make a play, but he's been balling out throughout spring practice. So, yeah. Darren says, the best information about Nebraska football, hands down. Keep on speaking the truth, my friend. Man, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Darren. You know what I really try to do on this channel, guys, is I really want to bring a different perspective to Nebraska football, because a lot of times when I was making my channel, a year ago, 2 years ago, and I saw the creators of Nebraska football, there were a lot of guys who just talk about, the actual games. They're talking about pregame coverage. They were talking about postgame, but there wasn't any recruiting talk. There wasn't any spring practice talk. There wasn't any insider talk, and I respect a lot of the other Nebraska creators. Obviously, they do a really good job. But what we try to do on this channel, we try to talk about stuff that isn't being talked about, like recruiting, like practice. So people have really, really been supportive of my channel over the last couple months, so I'm really appreciative of you guys. So thank you for that, Darren. Banks played a couple reps. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. I thought he played the first couple series and then did not play the rest because he's a veteran. Yep. See, if he was held out of the game, that would have been news to me. Yeah, there were a lot of players on defense who were held out, like Gifford, Marcus Buford. So that was kind of disappointing. Zach says, I saw somebody said that they think Bly Hill should be back by summer. Yeah, I did see that. Very, very good news. Yeah, hopefully he's back by July when we start up fall camp. Man, that would have been a big, big miss, guys. I mean, I don't like this secondary. It is so inexperienced. If you have to talk about Ethan Nation being cornerback 2 and then Jeremiah Charles potentially being cornerback 3, we are not very deep. Again, those guys are super raw and super athletically gifted, but they're not experienced. So Bly Hill would have been nice to have all season long. We'll see how his rehab goes. It looks like it's going to go fine, so really excited about that. Demetrius Bell was the other guy who got injured. We have not got an update about him. That really hurt me. Demetrius Bell is my guy throughout spring practice, so I was disappointed about that one. But, yeah. All right, we'll go back to the comment section a little bit here. I'm going to go into Danny Kalin's film next, and then we'll go to Harberg's to wrap up this stream. But, yeah, let's go to our friend Danny Kalin, the true freshman. Let's see if this wants to load. Here we go. All right. Share my screen. All right. Let's do this. Danny Kalin. So we talked about Harberg. Let's get into our guy. So Danny Kalin, in my opinion, I was more interested to see him than Raiola, because I knew what Raiola was going to be. We knew that Raiola was going to go out there and ball on Saturday. That wasn't a shocker to me, the fact that he played as well as he did. Okay, Raiola's the real deal. He's a 5-star. And he's playing against, second-stringer Nebraska players. So, yeah, he was going to play well. Danny Kalin was the guy I wanted to see more, because I wanted to see if he truly was a project or not. And I got my answer. Yeah, he is a project. Yeah, he's not developed yet. And he did look like a freshman, like Dion said in the comment section. So, let's go into it real quick. In first play, he had overthrown to Ja'Cory Barney. Get a little quick dot. That's not his fault. A nice job stepping out of the pocket. And that was just a bad read by him. He made a really good play here to understand that, okay, he needs to step up, he needs to roll the right. But he forced a pass straight down the middle. Okay, when you're rolling out to the right-hand side, the last place you want to throw is right down the middle with lurking linebackers in zone coverage. He did just that. And, yeah, threw a pick right here because that was so easy. So easy. I believe Hartzog. Who was that who caught that? Might have been Hartzog. But, yeah, that was not a good play. Number 11. Somebody let me know who number 11 is. Why can I not think of him? Yeah, just another check down there. That was a great snag, by the way. But very similar to what Harberg was doing, right? They didn't want to go out there and put him under fire. They wanted to basically give him a bunch of checkdowns. One thing I'm impressed with, Isaiah Nair, again, Isaiah, that's your guy. Isaiah Nair just kept making plays after the catch, right? He would catch the football about 5 yards away from the line of scrimmage and then run it for the next 10, 15. That's what I love about Isaiah Nair above everything else. Get another nice check down. Get nothing to write home about. And this is something, that was a completely misread. Holy cow. But this is something I talked about leading up to the spring game, is that we would see a lot of this, right? We'd see a lot of checkdowns because Matt Rhule is all about strategy. He does not want to give up the entire offense, show everybody what we have to show. He's going to do a lot of this, of these checkdowns, these little dink and dunk plays. But this, I have no idea what Kalin was doing there. That was awful. It was awful. Guess who? Jalen Lloyd. What a catch. I'll just check down. A lot of stuff that we saw in the Bellevue West offense. So when I was reacting to his film originally, again, Bellevue West offense is super dink and dunk as well. Like a lot of plays inside the 5 yards, 10 yards even. Yeah, that one. What the heck? That might have been a good throw if the obvious PI did not happen. But yeah, another just dink and dunk. So a lot of drops. We saw a lot of drops throughout this game. Something I didn't mention. The wide receivers, we know they can make plays, and we know how great their route running is, but man, they were dropping balls left and right. The tight ends were as well. Another nice play there. Come on, another drop. But yeah, Kalin, again, there's a lot left to be desired. A lot of dink and dunks, a lot of stuff there. We didn't really see his arm talent. We didn't see a go ball. We didn't see, play down the middle, 20 yards out, right? So a lot of stuff left to be desired, but he wasn't very accurate outside of, going to the corner, going outside of the hash marks, right? He was not accurate. So a lot of development there for Kalin that needs to be done. Again, he should not play within year one. So let's just go back to the comment section, guys. Let's go back to the comment section here. Holy cow, a lot of stuff. All right. You have to replace the Sam McHugh and Sam Callahan. Nobody young is giving takes besides you and Coronation. Is Coronation young? I thought the Coronation guy was like the older gentleman who was making those videos. Yeah, I have no interest in being a beat writer. That's what those two do. Again, yeah, they're not my favorite. I think personally, Sean Callahan's really good at breaking information. But yeah, listen, they're paid to be optimistic, right? That's just the way it is. When you're a beat writer for Nebraska, you have to be paid to be optimistic because you're paying for those clicks. A lot of times I don't want to do that, right? Like if there's something that I disagree with, I'm gonna say it, right? And I acknowledge that Matt Rhule knows more than I do, right? Obviously, he's the coach of Nebraska. I'm not, but like I said earlier in the live stream, right? I didn't agree with Matt Rhule taking one of the recruits that he did, and that's fine. We can disagree, but it's good to have different opinions. It's good for not everybody to be Kool-Aid all the time. Like I'm Kool-Aid. Like I am very positive about Nebraska football, but again, I'll speak up if I disagree, or if we lose a football game, I'm gonna sound off. I'm gonna be very angry, right? So it's just the way that goes. Jake says, if you think Harberg is that bad, do you think Rhule should get a depth piece in the portal? Listen, it's just impossible to find a veteran quarterback who will not play. Every single quarterback that enters the transfer portal wants to start. You cannot find a quarterback who willingly wants to be a backup, because it's not like Dylan Raiola is a senior quarterback and then if we get a transfer, the transfer will start next year. Dylan Raiola will be your quarterback for the next 3 years. We just cannot find a veteran quarterback. It's impossible. Deion says Bell is out for the year. Are we sure about that? Because what it sounded like was that it was a patella injury. So at worst case scenario for him, it'd be about a 4 month. He could come back at the end of the year, but that's not great. You might be right, Deion. Are we playing for anybody on the portal? Yeah, again, we offered a couple guys in the secondary a couple weeks ago. We haven't really heard any more information about that. Dylan Edwards is another player that we offered, but expect everything to start intensifying over the next week once we really start going after these guys heavy, because, yes, I do believe we'll get a couple guys from the portal. Isaiah says he never would have played at Missouri. I assume you're referring to Kalin. I think he would, but again, he's a project, right? He wouldn't play within those first couple years, in my opinion. That's just the way he is. I wonder if some of our special teams problems is due to Ed Foley. I've been iffy about him. Yeah, I'm the same way, man. I completely agree with you. Ed Foley, I think, is a great recruiter. He's our in-state recruiter, basically. I've seen Ed Foley countless times at Millard South. That's my high school. I'm graduating in 2 weeks, so shout out to that. But I've seen Ed Foley, in person before, and I think he's a great recruiter. But yeah, he's not a great special teams coordinator. That was my concern when we hired him originally. And our special teams, honestly, our kickoff returns have not been great. Our punt returns have not been great. But our kicking and punting have been terrible. Brian Bushidi, people forget how bad he was last year. Brian Bushidi had about he had a bunch of 30-yard punts, 35-yard punts, 20-yard punts, right? Brian Bushidi was bad. Really, really bad. And then you mix that with Tristan Alvano, who cost us the Iowa and Wisconsin game. It could be. It could be about him. Lloyd has 11 catches last year. Calm the hype. Well, yeah, and Isaiah Nayer hasn't had any catches within the last 2 years. I mean, it's the same for both these players. Listen, Jalen Lloyd only had 11 catches last year because he didn't get playing time until the second half of the season. Yeah, he was a true freshman, but at the same time, Malachi Coleman's getting a bunch of hype, and he only had 6 catches last year, right? These guys are talented, and they're going to make a big step up in their sophomore year, no doubt about it. Jalen Lloyd's a good player, and he's been balling out. So expect Jalen Lloyd and Coleman to play really well, but Lloyd's going to start for sure. I still wonder what it'd be like if we kept Mickey Joseph as a receiver coach. I'll tell you this, our receivers would be one of the best in the country. Mickey Joseph was a stud, man. He was a great, great, great coach. Obviously the stuff off the field's not awesome, but he's the head coach at Grambling now, so hopefully he does well there. Corn crazed in his 30s. Yeah, I was referring to coordination. Yeah, Corn crazed, I believe, in that 30 range. Yeah, Corn crazed does a good job. He really does. He does a good job for sure. I wish he talked about recruiting more. He said before in the past that he doesn't follow recruiting at all. He doesn't talk about recruiting. He doesn't really follow practices, and I respect it. It's kind of hard to follow that extensively, but yeah, Corn Craze does a very good job. He's a very, very talented YouTuber. You're thinking of I was thinking of coordination there. My guess is we over recruit Kalin and he never plays or transfers. Yeah, so here's my ideal scenario for Daniel Kalin, and it's an Alabama situation, right? So if you're familiar with Alabama football, you're familiar with Tua Tagovailoa and Mac Jones. Tua Tagovailoa was their starting quarterback for 2 years, won a national title, was picked first round by the Miami Dolphins. Okay, very, very high upside quarterback. After he left, Mac Jones was a plug-and-play guy with 1 year of eligibility left who's been riding the bench his entire career, and he was developed, and he went out there and led him to Natty in 2020 and was also drafted first round. That's my ideal scenario, is that Raiola, obviously the higher upside guy, hopefully he plays for 3 years, is a first rounder, and then you can just plug and play Danny, and he'll go in the first round after that 1 year of playing. So that's what I hope there, but we will see. Sip is like 62. Yeah, Steve Sipple, pretty old. I'm not a Steve Sipple guy. I really am not. I find it hard to believe that there are beat reporters out there who just don't follow recruiting. He does not follow recruiting in the slightest. And again, I think Sipple's a decent writer. I really do. I think when it comes to actually breaking down the game, he's not bad. But yeah, just not a Sipple guy. I'm not really a beat writer guy. I don't really read a bunch of articles from our beats. Am I the only one that feels good about landing Michael Terry? I feel good about it too, but it's going to be a really, really hard battle. It's going to be a hard battle. He wants to stay in the state of Texas. It was reported multiple times that if he were to leave the state of Texas, it would only be for one school, and that would be Nebraska. But he's a Texas lean. He grew up a Texas fan. He's also very interested in Texas A&M, who has money, as we all know. Baylor as well. So I think I'd probably put Michael Terry about 40%, which is pretty good for a 5-star, but it's going to be a tough battle. I'd honestly put Texas at a 50%. So yeah, watch out for that. D-Bell's likely foul for the year. That's terrible, man. That is terrible. Man, I'm disappointed by that. Disappointed. Bushidi went downhill very fast. Yeah, he was terrible last year. Really good in 2022, but yeah, he was awful. Move Alvano to safety. No words, man. Are we looking over Malachi? No, I don't think we're overlooking Malachi at all. He's got so much hype. I was saying, I felt this way in March, specifically, where I thought people were hyping up Malachi Coleman more than Jalen Lloyd. So Malachi's obviously getting a lot of hype, and I think he's going to be a very good player. I think Malachi right now is your receiver 4. I think, obviously, Lloyd's going to start. I believe Nayer and Banks are your 3, and then Malachi's going to be that 4. So I don't think anybody's looking over Malachi. That upside is going to be awesome. But yeah, it does suck that he didn't play in spring ball basically at all. Sean said, comparing Nebraska to Alabama. No, I'm not in the ways of winning football games, but that's what I want to happen when it comes to Raiola and Kalin's, that you basically go in the Alabama model. But I actually think there are Nebraska and Alabama comparisons, specifically in the way that practice is oriented. Right, I talked about in this past videos where we had a coaching clinic a a couple weeks ago, right, where coaches, high school ranks, they came in, they watched practice, and they said Nebraska practices as intense as anybody in the country besides 2 schools, Alabama and Georgia. That's a pretty good list to be compared to. So, yeah, there's some comparisons there, Sean. I'm not saying we're going to win natties like Alabama, but there's stuff there. Do you think Raiola will stay in college football all 4 years? I think if he does, something went wrong, to be completely honest with you. His potential is so high. I think he's going to be one of the best true freshmen in the country. So I don't think he will stay all 4 years, but if he does, he's not as good of a quarterback as we wanted him to be. So, yeah. CB says, Wilson, how do you get your insider info? Do you know players? Yeah, I know a couple people in the Nebraska athletic department, guys who previously went to my high school, right? You just kind of hear stuff. There's a lot of rumblings around campus, right? So I hear about that. Obviously, all the message boards, right? I basically hear all of that stuff. So obviously, I'm not like attending all these practices, no. But again, yeah, I'm pretty well connected. So yeah, we definitely hear about all the practices that go down. There's people who are in attendance and let me know what's going on. So yeah. Move up onto the safety. Yeah, that was funny. Do you think Harberg should move to tight end? See, I hated this when Rhule even brought this up. I think when Hinrich Harberg actually played tight end versus Minnesota, Hinrich Harberg is not big. Like he is not a big. Like he's big in a quarterback sense. He's not big in a tight end sense. The only way, like he's an athlete. Me and my boy Justin Adams over there, the voice of college football for Nebraska, we've talked about it. He's an athlete, right? You put the ball in his hands, he can make some plays, but he's not big. So I don't understand moving him to tight end. You have a bunch of guys who I feel way more confident about. At the end of the day, Harburg's at that point in his career where if he can't work out at quarterback, he can't work out at any position. So I don't want to move him to tight end, but we'll see there. I could perceive him playing basically a flex position though, like a flex running back. We'll see. Let's face it, our ceiling next year is 12-0. No. We'll lose to Ohio State next year. We'll lose to Ohio State. You could pencil that down, right? So we're not there yet, but I think our ceiling next year is probably 10-2. I think that's a pretty good ceiling, and we shouldn't be mad about that. As for our floor, however, I think our floor is probably 3-9, and that sucks. And people will come in here and they'll say, "Wilson, there's no way we go 3-9." Yeah, we didn't think we'd go 3-9 in 2021 either. So, yeah, that's definitely a possibility if everything goes wrong. But I don't think we're going to go 3-9. It's just it's a possibility, guys. Anything is a possibility. We're 3-0 going into Ohio State, right? Hopefully, man. Hopefully. I think the toughest game in those first 7. I mean, there's not really a tough game there. I mean, you play Illinois, right? Who we've struggled against in the past. You play Colorado, obviously. We lost last year, but yeah, we should be 7-0, guys. We really should. We really should if everything goes right. But hopefully Raiola does not have those slumps that might happen in a true freshman quarterback. So our quarterback room will be compensated by our safety experience on the back end. I completely agree. I completely agree. I feel great about the safety room. I mean, you have Marcus Buford, you have Malcolm Hartzog, you have Deshaun Singleton. That's a really good 3 right there, including Isaiah Gifford as well at that rover spot. So you're completely right there, Isaiah. You are completely right. Do you believe Nebraska versus Colorado will be one of the biggest games of the year? It's funny you ask that. Now, I don't want to spoil anything, but tomorrow I have a video talking about that. So watch out for that, folks. That'll be released about 11-12 tomorrow in the morning. So watch out for that video. I'm not going to answer that, though, because we will talk about it next. We really need to be reasonable at NU football. Nobody's beating Nebraska in 2024. Yeah. Man, I love it. I love it, dude. Nobody's beating us. Why not? Let's go with it. Have you heard anything about Singleton? Yeah, he was injured throughout spring practice, but they're looking for a medical red shirt so he gets an extra year of eligibility. So I think he's going to be a dog. I think he's going to be an absolute dog. He's one of those hard-hitting safeties where, again, if you're a running back coming down the middle, if you're a wide receiver in the flat, he's going to absolutely lay you out. But, yeah, I've really heard nothing about him given the fact that he hasn't really played throughout spring practice, but he should be good by the time we get to fall ball. The voice of college football guy is dope. He's just so monotone, hard to listen. Yeah, Justin Adams is awesome, man. He's awesome. We had a collaboration on my channel a week ago. He knows his stuff. He knows his stuff. I think me and him are the only two Nebraska YouTubers who talk about recruiting extensively. We talk about practice extensively. So absolutely love my man Justin Adams. Make sure to go subscribe to him. We're going to have a bunch more collaborations in the future. Absolutely, we're going to collab with him. So really, really excited for the future this summer. Vegas is 7.5 for Nebraska wins. See, I feel like it's been that over the last couple of years. It's been about 7.5, 6.5. If I were to bet on that, see, that's a really good line. I would probably take the under, unfortunately. Just, listen, we have not made a bowl game since 2016, okay? To put that in perspective, I am a senior in high school, okay? I'm graduating in 2 weeks. The last time we made a bowl game, I was in 5th grade, I believe. It might have been 4th grade. I was like that. It's been a long time, folks. It has been a long time since we made a bowl game. So, I'm so used to taking the under on those, but I'm feeling optimistic, guys. I really am. So hopefully by the time we get to July, I end up feeling more confident about that over. I have a bad feeling we might lose to Colorado. Again, I can't answer this question. We have a video talking about it tomorrow, but I don't think we'll lose to Colorado. Not at the crib, and Colorado is a joke right now. Gifford, Buford, Singleton starting 3 safeties. I think Hartzog will be your starting safety besides Singleton. So I think it'll be Gifford, Buford, and then Hartzog. Hartzog will basically play that free safety spot. Buford will play strong safety. Gifford will play rover. So, yeah. And then, but you're still going to see a lot of Singleton. Honestly, Singleton could play in the box. He could play a little bit of a linebacker, too. Get a really versatile guy. Colorado got some talent in the portal, but they also lost their entire team. So I'm not stressed about Colorado. This year, we were riding the high of our quarterback's talent, and we wear it off the entire team. You saw the spring game. All right. I'm not sure what you are talking about here. We ride the high of our quarterbacks and wear off the rest of the team. You saw the spring game. You mean quarterback talent? I mean, Raiola is the only really talented quarterback that I think as of right now. Grant says, what position do you think we're the weakest at? It has to be tight end or quarterback. Cornerback, not quarterback. Tight ends, right? You basically only have one scholarship player you feel good about. Obviously, that's Fedoni. Borkature and Lindenmeyer are really good blocking tight ends. You feel confident about them laying out an edge rusher on the goal line, but they're nothing in the receiving game. They're just not. And then you have Ismael Smith-Flores, who I believe is still a project. You have a bunch of true freshmen, so tight ends are not good. And then we talk about the quarterback room. Like I talked about before, you feel great about Tommy Hill. Obviously, you did not see him in the spring game because he was a veteran, but Ethan Nation, really talented player. He has never really played defense in his career. Jeremiah Charles, really talented player, really good upside. Have never seen him in his career. And then you have Larry Tarver, true freshman. You have a bunch of other guys who I don't think really will produce. So I don't feel good about that corner room at all. But like we talked about earlier, that safety room is really talented, so we'll see what they can do. CB says, it's a really good line. If Vegas knows what they're doing. Yeah, it's a great line. It is a great line. I would probably, if I were to make a record prediction today, I say we go 8-5. Or excuse me, not 8-5, 7-5. So, yeah, it is a really good line. If I were a betting man, which I'm not, I would not touch that line. Do you think that I believe that 1995, I cannot talk today, Nebraska team is the best of all time. I mean, yeah, obviously they're the best of all time. I think you look at some of those stats, the amount of points they put up in their games, the amount of points they gave up, just absolute dominance throughout the year. Tommy Frazier, one of the best quarterbacks of all time. Lawrence Phillips. It's the best team of all time. But give respect to 2001 Miami, also up there. I'm a kind of recency bias. I think LSU was up there as well, 2019 team. But yeah, Nebraska, when you dive into the stats and how dominant they were that season, yeah, they're the best of all time. However, there's another element to this question. When we talk about 1995 Nebraska, could they compete against teams right now? Like if they played Georgia right now, do I think they would win? No, because players right now, with the way they're developed, are better than players were 30 years ago. Now, that's not saying, that the 1995 Nebraska team was worse. They were the best team to ever play in their era. No question about that. But when we compare the roster talent to the roster talent now, no. But, yeah, they are the best team in their era. Let's see. I think this is my father who put this. What do you think of the proposed salary cap rules? I don't think there's any salary cap ruling for NIL. That won't go far. Trust me. That would be super hard to regulate. So, yeah, that would be hard to regulate. Ismail Smith played really good. He has an NFL tight end body already. Yeah, his dad was an Iowa player, and he has that genes in him, but he's a project. He's kind of like a Chris Hickman type player, if you remember him, where I think his upside's good, but I don't perceive him to play this year. I don't think he's a great blocking tight end either. I think he's more of that downhill receiving tight end. So maybe he could be a flex receiver tight end. That's the only way I perceive him playing. So Vincent Shavers hype, not buying him. Didn't show up in the scrimmage at all. Shavers played well, man. Shavers was balling out. It might not show on the stat line, but he was constantly in there making plays. I completely buy the Shavers hype. Completely buy it. He's my number one buy guy. I've talked about it for months. And again, it's something I said throughout this live stream. Yes, he might have not played the best in the spring game. I think he did play good. It's one scrimmage out of 5 scrimmages that they did over spring practice. So it really doesn't matter that much. Vincent Shavers is the real deal. He's the real deal. Can't win when you replace half your team. Yeah. Portal. Yeah, for Colorado. Absolutely. And that's the thing I've talked about in the past, which is the difference between Matt Rhule and Dion, and I'm going to talk about this in tomorrow's video, is that I compare college football to the NFL a lot, right? In the NFL, let's look at the Kansas City Chiefs. In order to be a successful franchise, you have got to draft well, and then you just supplement some of your needs throughout free agency, okay? College football is the exact same way. You have got to recruit well, and then you can just fix some of your needs throughout the transfer portal, right? Dion is not recruiting high school at all. He only got 10 commits in the last class. So, yeah, it's not going to work there. He will fail, to be completely honest with you. It's impossible to do what he's doing. Have you heard of the bowl game contract for players that are healthy? Meaning if a player is healthy, they have to play in a bowl game? They can't opt out to avoid injury? Is that a real thing that's got like that? If that's a proposal, I don't think that'll ever pass. To be completely honest with you, they can't do that. I hate what they're doing with bowl games. I hate the fact that players opt out, but that's just would never work. Specifically with the fact that player rights are increasing more and more every year. I don't think that would ever work. Yeah, Shavers did have the first tackle of the game. Yeah, Shavers balled, man. Like, it might not show on the box score or on the stat sheet, but he was constantly making plays in there, getting tackles. So, yeah, I love him. Kyle says, I'm confused about the video you post earlier. When are they supposed to transfer? Yeah, okay. I was going to address this. I messed up with today's video. So, this was an idea that I had for weeks, and I was kind of sitting on it. And I recorded the video a couple days ago. And I was looking over it today before I posted. I'm like, oh my gosh, oh crap. The portal closed a couple days ago. So yeah, I'm sorry about that. But I still believe in a lot of the stuff that I said in that video in regards to Gabe Irving, Ramir Johnson. I perceive some of those guys as potentially medical redshirt. A lot of times when the transfer portal does open up back up, I expect some of the guys on defense that I mentioned to potentially transfer. So basically everything I said in that video, I still stand by. But yeah, I messed up with the timing, guys. That's on me. I was going to post that video a lot earlier than I did. But yeah. Hey, what up, Justin, man? We were just talking about you. We were talking about you about 10 minutes ago. Said you did a good job. So yeah, we're going to have some more content coming out with you and in the future this summer. So excited about that. Everybody, make sure to give my man Justin a sub if you have not already. CB says, what players did CU get that could actually help them beat us? D-line, O-line. Just a bunch of guys who are really talented out of high school, right? 4-star, 5 stars. Might have not produced at the next level, but they did add some players that are noteworthy. But again, they really didn't add anybody who I'm particularly scared of. So yeah, I don't think Colorado's going to beat us. Totally agreed with everything you said. Was just confused with the timing. Yeah, that's my fault. Today's video, again, everything I said in the video was pretty much accurate, but yeah, the timing I messed up. That's on me. So yeah, but the portal did open up. So keep putting comments in here, guys. Let's get into Dylan Raiola's film. So if you're just joining us in this live stream, we've been talking about recruiting. I've been talking about your comments, but we went over Hinrich Harberg's film. We went over Danny Kalin's film. Now it's time to go over Dylan Raiola's film. So let's do it, guys. I'm excited to dive into Dylan Raiola right now. Let's pull it up here. And again, make sure to keep putting stuff in the comment section. By the time we're done with this film, I'll get back to responding. All right, so yeah, let's go. All right, so here we are with Dylan Raiola's film. This is a two-parter. We have his first half film, second half film. Make sure to follow my man on Twitter, Huskers Film. He basically chops up all of the quarterback film and all of the wide receiver film and posts them on Twitter. So this is who I'm pulling it from, but let's just start it off. So first off, love this play concept. And I talked about this with Harberg. Is this basically an option where you just have a dump off to the tight end? Such a good goal line play. Fedoni, really awesome there. Smart play by Raiola. One thing that I love here is that watch his eyes. Although he's scrimming to the left-hand side, a lot of quarterbacks like Harberg, like running first quarterbacks, they would just book it immediately once they see this green grass. But he keeps his eyes downfield. And obviously he didn't find anybody, but he's keeping that option there. And then decides to just pick up 6 yards, right? So pretty good job there. Good play action. This was that go route that we wanted to see and just overthrew it. Yeah, that was intended for Nair. But I think everybody in the stadium was excited to see him just rip that football. And he just makes it look so easy, guys. He makes it look so easy. Yeah, this is a beautiful pitch and catch. Beautiful pitch and catch here. I believe Bonner catched this ball. I mean, just awesome. Back in the end zone. Shout out Janiri and Bonner, man. Real I've said this in the past, but I have no idea. This is one thing I just disagree with Matt Rhule about originally. Why did Matt Rhule move Janiri Bonner from wide receiver to fullback last year? That was probably the stupidest thing that Matt Rhule has done his tenure. I just did not understand that. His upside is so good at wide receiver, and then, of course, he ended up moving him back to receiver, and he made the first big play of the spring game. So that made no sense for me, but Janiri Bonner back to his real position. Look at that sidearm, though. Obviously, that was inaccurate, but, man, he just sling it like Mahomes. And just beautiful. Fits it in there in zone coverage. Awesome. That was an awesome catch. Awesome pass. Another dump off. And again, like I talked about, Matt Rhule's hiding a bunch of stuff. He doesn't want to show you the entire offense. You saw a lot of dump offs here. Honestly, this was great coverage. This was better coverage than it was a pass. But he did put that in a good position. Nice job by the wide receiver there to move his head around, try to make a play on that football. I believe that was Demetrius' spot. I believe Demetrius is 11. I could be wrong. And yeah, this was his only pick, which was not his fault at all. A little bit, to be completely fair, when you are throwing that football inside 10 yards, he gunned it. You have no business gunning that football. It was a little bit high, but it should not have been picked off. Should not have been picked off. That was just a tip drill. Yeah, not really a big con there. And look at our friend Isaiah Nair there. Man, I mean, he's just so good after the catch. So good after the catch. And there's Jalen Lloyd. This was the highlight of the game. Absolutely the highlight of the game. Steps up in the pocket. Beautiful pitch and catch on a deep post route. I will say this. Jalen Lloyd was guarded in man coverage by a walk-on. So it's not like he was playing the best of the best there, but still, really, really good play. I love Raiola's pocket presence. He is so calm. Slings that football. Get outside the hashes right here. A little bit overthrown, but the wide receiver makes a spectacular catch to bring it down. And again, I think my favorite stat line from Raiola wasn't the passes completed. It wasn't the touchdowns. It was the fact that within his first 15 completions, 13 of them were to different receivers. That just shows you the fact that he will always find the open man. He does not have favorites. He's not going to throw a ball in harm's way. That's that type of mentality, that type of development that you never see from true freshman quarterbacks. That's why he's different. And yeah, a little bit of overthrow there to end it. But they were just trying to make something happen, show off his arm talent. We'll give that a second look here. Overthrow. He was trying to force stuff here. That's no problem. But, yeah, that was a bad throw. All right, so that was the first half. Let's get to the second half real quick. Really quick here. And then we'll get to the comment section. So a little bit shorter. Okay. Rolling out. Hold on. I want to make sure. I want to try to get this to. There we go. All right. Oh, I'm completely wrong. This is not Raiola. This is, believe Jack Wosh, who ended up transferring. So, I must have messed this up. We don't need to see that then. But, yeah, so that was Raiola's film. Let's get back to the comment section here. That's weird. Could have swore I didn't mess that up, but suppose I did. All right, let's take it back to the comment section here. Yep, shout out to my man Justin. Let's go through here. Holy cow. All right, I'm trying to get to everybody's here. Started off with this one. Do you think Cardinals were red shirt as good as our tight end room is? First off, I don't think our tight end room's good. But yeah, I actually think that's a real talking point. The fact that Carter Nelson might redshirt. One thing I hated was the fact that he did not early enroll, right? He's coming in from 8-man football. He's not used to 11-man. It would have been so beneficial for him to get on campus, learn the offense, learn 11-man football, really get some quality weight on him. He's very, very skinny for that tight end spot, and he didn't. So I think the only way that Carter Nelson plays this year is if he's basically a hybrid wide receiver tight end. That's the only way I really foresee him actually getting playing time because he's not big enough yet to be a Big Ten tight end. I was actually researching this a while back. Nebraska has not had a true freshman tight end actively play and start since, let's have you guess it. No, I'm kidding. I'll just say it. Sethan Carter, about 10 years ago, Sethan Carter plays as a true freshman. You want to know why Sethan Carter plays as a true freshman? Because when he got on campus, he was 250 pounds. Carter Nelson is about 20 pounds short. So, yeah, I don't think he will play at the traditional tight end spot, but he's so much of an athlete where, if he gets on campus and starts balling out, you might have to put him at that wide receiver spot. CB says they're going to have a hard time keeping him off the field. Yeah, exactly. Completely agree there. The only thing he knows he isn't going to get hit. It's going to be interesting when that comes in play. You're talking about the O-line? Yeah, I would like to see Raiola slide a couple times. He was not very good at sliding in the high school ranks. I don't believe he got hit in the spring game. Obviously, they're not supposed to hit him, but he needs to learn how to slide, and he will get hit when we play. Like, our O-line, I think, is improved, but it's still not a top 20 unit. Yeah, he's not used to getting hit. Obviously, they don't hit quarterbacks in practice, so hopefully he does not get injured. Hopefully. Dumbest thing outside of getting Jeff Sims. I don't know what you're talking about here, Justin. Is Bonner athletic enough to be used like Deebo Samuel? No. Bonner is, in my opinion, just a wide receiver. He should only be a wide receiver. Maybe you flex him at tight end if he puts enough weight on him, but he's not fast. That's the only con with him, is that he literally runs like a legit 4.6. Deebo runs about a 4.5, maybe even a 4.4. So, no, I don't believe he's athletic enough. But he's 6'4", right? He's really big. He's kind of like an A.J. Brown if Bonner works out. So, no, I don't think he's that athletic enough. Now, as for a guy who I believe is athletic enough, Malachi Coleman, right? Malachi Coleman, I would love in that role. Amazing what a decent quarterback can do in this offense. Exactly, my man. Exactly. Sims is at Arizona State right now. This shocked me. This absolutely shocked me. I saw this. There was a rumor that he would land there about 2 weeks ago. That he officially committed the other day. why in the world would Arizona State take Jeff Sims after how poorly he played last year? Like, I don't even see the upside for a guy like him. He's going into his last year of eligibility. That made no sense to me. That made no sense to me. Why Arizona State would even offer him. Justin said, "Oh, that was when you said Rhule's dumbest move." Yeah. Sims, you are right. Sims was the second worst move, and that's why I'm a little bit hesitant to give Rhule all the praise and all the hype in the offseason, because Rhule instantly got to Nebraska and he put all his chips in a quarterback who played the worst of any starting quarterback we've seen from Nebraska in over a decade. And he kept hyping him up. He said, Jeff Sims is an NFL guy. He's going to be all Big Ten. And he went out there and got benched and got injured within the first couple of games. So, yeah, Jeff Sims, man, that was awful. And that made me not trust Matt Rhule completely 100%, because that was just such a horrendous addition. If somebody said Jeff Sims was fixing games last year, I would have believed him. That's funny. That is funny. You know what? I felt bad for Jeff Sims. I can't remember what game it was. I think it was Maryland, where they put him in the game. He hadn't played in like 2 months, and they put him in, and he instantly fumbles. Oh man, Jeff Sims was he's one of those guys where we're sitting here 20 years down the line, and somebody mentions his name, and we're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he actually played for Nebraska. Yeah, he's one of those players who was just a train wreck, man. Train wreck. Who was that walk-on quarterback? He was dialing them up in the spring game low-key. Yeah, I believe that was Jack Wosh. I could be wrong, but I believe that was him. I'm not going to lie to you. I did not watch the fourth quarter of that spring game. I was in Los Angeles. I was in Universal Studios when I was watching. I was just basically watching the game on my phone. And when we got to the fourth quarter, I'm like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. All the walk-ons are in. I'm not going to get any beneficial information here. He does know how to block. Yeah, I assume you're referring to Carter Nelson here. Carter Nelson. Listen, he's just not big, and he has no blocking experience. Very, very athletic player. When he has the ball in his hands, man, he can make you miss. He can truck over you. He played running back, quarterback, wide receiver, tight end at 8-man football, but yeah, he's not big enough, guys. So the only way he plays a true freshman, I believe, is basically at a flex role. Kate says, how many yards is Jalen Lloyd going for? See, if Jalen Lloyd was your quote-unquote receiver one, I think he'd be a 1,000-yard receiver. I think he'll probably be around that 800 range. About 40 catches, right? The only problem I have with Jalen Lloyd is that he was exclusively a deep ball threat last year. I'm expecting us to play him in the slot this year. He almost has zero slot experience. So that's my only thing about Jalen Lloyd, but man, he just keeps balling. He keeps making plays. So I feel good about him. What are we going to do if Sims balls out this year? Fire Sat if that happens. If Sims balls out this year, yeah, we might have to have a conversation about Marcus Satterfield and Matt Rhule, because that would be horrendous. Sims' bank account for payments from Dion. Yeah, we're all gonna have to chip in and pay Sims some money if he balls out, because we kind of owe him after what we did. We were kind of insulting him throughout the year, but yeah. Sims could find a turnover when there wasn't one. Amazing skill. Yeah, I mean, very, very talented player when it comes to throwing a pick when there shouldn't be a pick that's thrown. He would make a fumble out of nothing. He would be lightly hit, and the ball would just somehow come out of his hands and be fell on by an opposing player. So, yeah, Sims, man, what a joke. What a joke. What a joke. Keep putting stuff in this comment section, guys. Fogway says, good evening, gents. Just tuning in. Any predictions on win-loss record? Yeah, I said this earlier, but I think we're going to go about 7-5 this year. I want to temper my expectations because, listen, you know what happens every summer? We start recruiting at a high level. We start getting a bunch of commits. We maybe might land a transfer or two, and then everybody's sitting here going into August, and we're like 8-4, 9-3, even 10-2. Like, I'm not going to do that this year, but I'm going to say 7-5. That's a good record. We should not be greedy, but we'll see what happens, guys. See what happens. 17 was hitting those throws like Dylan. Yeah. Every year we have a walk-on who just balls out. Nothing really to... let's not overread about a walk-on, guys. Zach, that's because the D was playing gravy and they knew quarterbacks, there would be no pressure. Yeah. The D played good, honestly. I thought the defense played a lot better than the offense throughout the game. The secondary consistently made plays, had a couple picks, so I thought the secondary was pretty good. But yeah, we couldn't really. This is what I hate about the spring game is that you basically cannot have a real evaluation about the D line or the linebackers because they can't go after the quarterback. So I completely agree with that. Sims could have got a hell of an NIL deal with Arby's promoting their turnovers. Man, you guys are cracking me up with this Jeff Sims, man. Oh my gosh, bro. Leave the poor man alone, man. Nah. Oh, brother, Jeff Sims, dude. Justin says 8-4, too much Rhule aid. I can see 8-4. Again, I truly believe we have a real opportunity to start off the year 7-0. So, if we start the year 7-0, 8-4 would be the thing I would go to. But I don't think we'll start off the year 7-0. I think we're probably going to lose a game we shouldn't, and that's just the way it is. That's the way Nebraska football's been. So, yeah. Just make a bowl and keep the momentum up for recruiting. Exactly what I'm talking about, Dion. Listen, we landed the best quarterback in the class of 2024 after winning 5 games. Imagine the type of recruits that we can get if we win 8. We win 7. Yeah. Just make a bowl game. Get that momentum. Start landing some 5 stars. Let's go, baby. Could we put the who's got the better approach Dion Rhule on hold until after they play again this year? Again, it's funny you mentioned that, man, because I have a video talking about that tomorrow. So I guess we'll have an answer for that when we get to it. CB says, if I told you they will start 7-0, what did you predict for the last 4 games? Yeah, I think if we start 7-0, we'll probably at 8-4 because you play Ohio State. I talked about that earlier. That's a loss. You play USC at USC. I think that's a loss. You play UCLA. That could be a win at the home, at the crib. And then you end your season with Wisconsin at home. We have not beat Wisconsin in, 12 years? And if we didn't beat them last year, I don't know when we will. And then we play Iowa. And Iowa's a winnable football game, but again, we've had no success against them either. So I would probably say 8-4, maybe 9-3, but we'll see, man. We'll see. We know that Rhule is not great at the end of the season, guys. Remember, we lost 4 straight to miss out on a bowl game. Just putting it out there. Kalin was visibly freaked out in the pocket a couple times. Yeah, he really was. He really, really was. And that's to be expected. He's a true freshman quarterback. That's something I keep harping to people. People have their expectations way too high for Danny Kalin. Okay, I get it. He was a 4-star. But I'm a Nebraska recruiting guy. I go to a lot of high school football games. I've watched Danny Kalin in person a couple times. I think he's a talent. I think he's a really talented player. But it was evident when he was at Bellevue West that he is a project. That his arm talent's really good, but his progressions aren't. His pocket awareness is not. And there's a bunch of other stuff in this game that really needs to be worked on. So, again, it wasn't surprising to me that he struggled, but yeah, I think the hype for him is too much from some people. I can see us going 5-7. I can also see us going 10-2. I can see it too, man. I can see it too. I can see it as well. 10-2 against probably my best case scenario. That's just literally everything goes right. If Raiola is a true freshman All-American, if nobody gets injured, that's what I think is going to happen for sure. And we're going to be let's be real, guys. If we go 10-2, we might be in the conversation for a college football playoff with the 12 team. So that would be pretty good for recruiting, guys. Pretty good. 6 or 7 wins isn't going to light the world on fire. Need 9 or 10. But listen, if we're having this much recruiting success with 5 wins, anything helps. I'm just going to tell you that. If we lose to Iowa and Colorado again, I don't know how much I'll be able to take it, especially Colorado. I would probably be more concerned about losing to Colorado. We've lost them 3 times in a row. 2018, 2019, we had no business losing either of those games, and we frankly got blown out last year. Colorado's not good, guys. They're not good, and we don't play them in a long time after this series, so we need to get that last word on them, man. We need to. Specifically with Dion and all the crap he's talked about us, it's personal. But, again, I have a video talking about it tomorrow. So, yeah. Dion says, or not Dion, excuse me, Justin. Justin says, Dion, Rhule, a topic we can't avoid. They do things so polar opposite. It helps us give a comparison to what Nebraska is doing differently that will lead to sustained success and what could be different this year. Again, yeah, I'll talk about it tomorrow, man. But yeah, I completely agree. They're polar opposites. New school, old school, transfer portal, high school recruiting. And I'm going to tell you this. If Matt Rhule somehow, in some world, loses to Deion Sanders on September 7th, 2024, that would probably be the most disappointing moment of my life as a Nebraska fan. And there's been some disappointing moments. And that would probably be the most disappointing part of Matt Rhule's tenure, by far. I mean, come on. You can't lose that game. You cannot lose it. Still saw Harberg with a little hesitation in getting the ball out. Raiola gets it out quick. Yeah. Again, Harberg, I think the hype is too much for him. Listen, he was still the same quarterback that I saw last year. Yeah, maybe he's a little bit more polished, but if he's playing in the ballgame, you're not comfortable. You're not feeling good about that. He's not a high-level quarterback, too. One thing I want to talk about, and I talked about it earlier in this live, was Tristan Alvano and how he played. What up, Lindsay? And Tristan Alvano went 1 for 3. And I talked about this in today's video. We have a concern with Tristan Alvano. Okay, and I love Tristan Alvano. Okay, he's a West Side kid. He's an Omaha guy. Very, very nice. And he was great at West Side. He was one of the best kickers in the country. But I'm going to tell you this. You can mark off his freshman campaign as, oh, he was a freshman. The jitters got to him. He's playing in front of 90,000, whatever. But I'm going to tell you this. In the spring game, with only 50,000 people in the stands, with basically no pressure, he went 1 for 3, including basically a chip shot miss, a 32-yarder. That's a terrible sign. You need a land transfer, dude. You need to. And Matt Rhule, all the time, I'm getting fired up about this because it's so important to me. It's so important that special teams we figure out. Matt Rhule talks about competition all the time. Build some competition in that room because it's so crucial for success. You cannot roll out a kicker who is kicking 60% from the field. Can't do that. You can't rally around that. Okay? There's one argument where people are like, oh, but we need to keep Alvano's confidence. Yeah, but you can't, it's the same argument where, oh, you have to keep Harberg's confidence. Harberg's a bad quarterback. Alvano's a bad kicker. He can get his confidence in the future, but right now you got to add some competition in that room. Okay, I still believe in Alvano. I think the talent's there. He can kick it 60, 70 yards. I'm not giving up on him. I'm not saying to cut him from the squad. But we cannot simply have him be quicker one next year or this year with no competition. Cannot happen. Cannot happen. Because I'm going to tell you this. We will lose football games. Guarantee. We are going to be in close games this fall. Against bad teams, against good teams. We're going to be in a close game against a team like a USC. A team that we should not be close against. We're going to be in a close game versus them. We also might be in a close game against a team we should beat, like in Indiana, like a Rutgers. We are going to rely on Tristan Alvano. And I'm going to tell you this. If he misses a crucial field goal, everybody's going to be calling for Rhule's head. And this is the time in the year where you fix that mistake from even happening. So we need to get somebody new there. I'm not saying Alvano can't start. I'm saying add another kicker in that room. And yeah, there is another kicker in that room. I think we got a guy from the high school ranks. His name Nico something. But personally, I want a transfer. I want an FCS transfer. Trust me, there are so many FCS transfers, group of 5 transfer kickers who are walk-ons who would die to be a Nebraska kicker. And trust me, they're kicking about 90, 95%. So let's try to go after some of those guys. I don't see how they could go 7-0. Maybe Rutgers could surprise them. But that's in Lincoln. Yeah, let's just go over the first 7 games because that's the whole narrative this offseason is those first 7 games. Let's just roll over them. Okay, UTEP, first game of the year, W. Let's not even lie about that. It's a dub. Colorado, W. Northern Iowa, W. Cool. We start 3-0. That's the first time. I mean, it's been what? 2016 since we started 3-0. It's been a very long time. So we're 3-0. Cool. Illinois, at the crib. You're playing in Illinois. That was a team that was struggling last year. I think you win that game, but I think it's a struggle. Then you play Purdue. Purdue was bad last year with a brand new head coach who was a head coach for the first time in his life. You play that at Purdue. Nebraska has notoriously struggled playing in West Lafayette. That could be a loss. Again, I struggle penciling in games like this and penciling them in as wins because we have struggled so much against the Big Ten West. Trust me on this one. Every single year since we've been in the Big Ten West, we've been more talented than Purdue or Illinois from just a pure talent perspective. But the coaching has not been adequate. The game planning has not been adequate. And we have lost these games time and time again. So we could lose a Purdue game. Next up, Rutgers at home. Rutgers is a decent team, guys. Like, they've made a bowl game the last couple of years. They've been better than us. So that's a losable game, in my opinion. And then you play Indiana at Indiana to finish off that 7-game stretch. Indiana's really bad. But they do have a great head coach. They just hired the James Madison guy. So they could be better next year. I don't think it'll be a quick rebuild, but another game to watch out for there. But okay, that's such a really, really easy 7-game stretch. Let's take it back to the comment section here. Holy cow, guys! I have a lot to catch up on here. Yeah, we did get a new kicker out of high school. Again, Nico something, right? I think he was listed like a 4-star. But yeah, Alvano's a total bust. We can't say that. Again, we can't say he's a total bust yet, right? Maybe if he struggles after this year, we can. But no. And to your second point about stop recruiting Nebraska kids, you've got to be kidding me. Nebraska talent is getting better and better every single year. Better and better. We're starting to get consistent 4-stars every single year within the state, right? Look at this class, for example. Christian Jones, 4-star. Chase Lofton, 4-star. Tyson Terry, about a 4-star. Caden Vermont, about a 4-star, right? Last year's class, Danny Kalin, 4-star. Isaiah Morris, 4-star. Davon Hall, 4-star, right? So, come on. We have got to recruit in state. Now, my second point to this, however, is that I don't think we should land a Nebraska kid just for the sake of landing a Nebraska kid, okay? I believe we've done that in the past, specifically in the Scott Frost era, where we would basically land a Nebraska kid who was a low 3-star because Scott Frost felt like he owed the state to get a Western kid from Kearney or from, Grand Island or whatever, right? So I think you land the best of the best talent in Nebraska, but not some of the guys that you have to reach on. So I think we've already done that in this class, unfortunately. I think there's a running back who we landed in this class who we probably shouldn't have this early in the process. Lane says, we're not losing to Purdue, bro. We say that every year, man. How could you be so sure? We have notoriously struggled against Big Ten West teams. Last year was the worst year in the Big Ten West history. The Big Ten West is bad every single year. Every single year. In the final year of the Big Ten West, it was the worst it has ever been. And we still lost consistently, right, to some of these teams that we shouldn't lose to. Iowa was awful last year. Wisconsin was awful last year. We barely beat Purdue. We barely beat Illinois. Northwestern, we barely beat, I think we handled Northwestern for the most part. We lost Minnesota, obviously. So we say that every year, dude, but we've lost Purdue a lot, and we struggle in West Lafayette. We always lose in West Lafayette. So, yeah, I don't want to believe we lose Purdue, but there's an opportunity. There's a chance, okay? I'm one of those guys where I have to see it to believe it. So, that's one of those prove-it games. Kalin Manis is the Rutgers starter. Wow. Thank you, Justin. I did not know that. I did not know Kalin Manis ended up transferring to Rutgers. Yeah, he's a solid quarterback, man. Him at Minnesota, I remember when we were beating, it was 2022, and we were up 10-0 at halftime versus Minnesota. They had their quarterback, Tanner Morgan, in the game first half. He was terrible. They ended up putting Kalin Manis in the second half, and he just torched us, absolutely torched us. And then, obviously, first game of the season last year, yeah, he played very good. So, yeah, Kalin Manis is a good quarterback. Very, very solid. Is going to be even worse this year. Who are you talking about here? CB, who are you talking about here? Who is going to be worse next year? Lost their best players, their head coach. He's not. Oh, you're talking about Purdue. Yeah. No, I think Purdue's going to be a little bit better. They actually had some success in the transfer portal. I'll tell you this about Purdue. Their offense might be one of the worst in the country, but their defense is going to be stout. Their defense is going to be very, very solid. Their defense is going to be great. What ones would you place? How many years have we had Alvano? We've had Alvano just 1 year. Yeah, he was a true freshman last year. Alvano went 5 for 5 on field goals in the state tie game. What happened? Here's the thing. It's a little bit different when there's 5,000 people in the stands for that West Side versus Gretna game, rather than maybe 50,000, 90,000. So I think the jitters are real. And I say this all the time when it comes to kickers, is that it's a mental game. Like, have a memory like a goldfish, because when you're a kicker, you gotta forget about the next kick or the kick before you. You gotta just have that 5-second memory, right? If something bad happens, you forget about it. That's sports for you. That's golf. That's football. Have a memory like a goldfish. A lot of kickers struggle with it. It's a mental game, man. It's a mental game. Your realistic take on the current Big Ten West teams is refreshing. Yeah, thank you. Again, I'm just tired of doing this song and dance every offseason, because every single year, we sit here and we look at Illinois, we look at Purdue, we look at Northwestern, and we pencil them in as W's, and we lose to them every year. We're always a better team than they are. Do not get me wrong. We're always more talented than they are, but the game planning, we just haven't figured out. So I'm not going to ever pencil them in until we consistently beat them. We smoked Purdue last year. We did not smoke Purdue last year. That was a close ball game. I remember I was at that game. It was like 20 degrees outside. I was freezing my butt off. Listen, real quick, that Purdue game, so again, it was 20 degrees. The fake sellout streak is very real. I want to mention that. There were probably about 50,000 people in the stands rather than 90,000. That was probably the worst attendance of any game I've ever seen. Nebraska versus Purdue. So yeah. But we didn't smoke it. It was a close game up until the second half. We kind of took control, but yeah. Wimsat is in the portal. Yeah, from Rutgers. Yeah. We recruited him a couple years ago, like about 3-4 years ago. It's been a long time since we recruited him, but he will not come to Nebraska. We're not even going to offer him. I'm just curious. Since you're graduating soon, are you headed to college? Yes, I am. Are you attending UNL? All right, guys. I have something to announce here. I'm not attending Lincoln. I've got some comments on my video a couple times that I'm wearing Creighton gear. Creighton, man. I'm committed to Creighton. Yeah, I will be going to Creighton next year. Listen, I'm sorry. I'm not going to Lincoln. I'm staying in Omaha next year. So, yeah, Creighton gave me an offer I could not refuse. I'm very, very, very blessed. I'm not going to pay any money in student tuition or room and board. So yeah, I had to go to Creighton. But hopefully I don't get any J-Sker comments again. Come on, you know the deal. Nebraska before everything. But yeah, yeah. Cole says, "Come on, man." I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is, right? Listen, if you were in my shoes. If you were in my shoes and you got a full ride scholarship from a university, you have to take that. And you have to, and I really love Omaha. Listen, I'm going to say this about Creighton, right? I have rooted for Creighton in the past. And I hope that does not change what you perceive about me, guys. But I love Nebraska, man. I'm a Nebraska guy through and through. I root for Nebraska and everything, but Creighton's my secondary team. I grew up in Omaha, grew up going to games. I'm not a rival. Like, I'm not a traditional J-Sker. I hate J-Skers because they root for Nebraska in the fall, then they diss Nebraska in the winter. I'm not that. I'll never be that. But again, it was kind of a no-brainer to go to Creighton. So again, I'm sorry. I hope I don't get J-Sker comments, but yeah, guys. Creighton, I will be attending next year, but do not worry. Don't worry, folks. I will be at every single Nebraska home game. Do not worry about that. I will consistently have Nebraska content throughout football season, off season, everything. But yeah. So yeah, sorry about that. I know people are kind of upset. I was waiting to announce this to you guys because I knew I'd get some probably negative comments. It had to have been through a live stream. It probably had to have been because probably would have got some negative comments. But yeah. Yep. Sorry about that, guys. I'm sorry. Yeah. Why not Lincoln? Yeah, again, the only reason why to go Lincoln was just the money factor, right? Again, I love Creighton, guys. I love Creighton. I think it's the university itself. Let's just put sports to the side. Let's put your rivalry to the side. When it comes to the university, I believe Creighton has the best education inside Nebraska. And again, I couldn't refuse that offer. So yeah, had to go to Creighton. But again, guys, you know the deal. You know the deal. Come on, Nebraska above everything, right? Like Nebraska basketball above everything. Nebraska football above everything. Nebraska baseball above everything. That's not changing, folks. So yeah. I saw your Creighton shirt during your LA video. It was a little sus. Yeah. I got a couple comments about that. That's almost like saying you're going to Oh, come on, Dion. Come on, man. No. I think the Nebraska-Creighton rivalry, to be completely honest, is a little bit overstated. Like, I don't think it's as big of a... I think Nebraska fans specifically think it's a little bit more of a rivalry. But no, come on. Iowa's our biggest rival. Wisconsin's our biggest rival. But yeah. Just don't do Creighton sports. Yeah, don't worry. We will not be posting Creighton on this channel. Do not worry, folks. You know the deal, folks. Nebraska football first. Nebraska basketball. We're still going to be posting that almost every single day. No doubt about it. Red ain't blue. You're darn right it ain't. Red is a better color. I do love red. I mean, come on. But again, so hopefully that does not change your perception about me. But just had to address it, right? Had to let you know, because you guys would have found out, sooner or later. So, but hopefully you guys can forgive me down the line. But you guys know the deal, right? Nebraska football before everything. I love Lincoln. I love the University of Lincoln. Gonna have some strong ties there. A lot of my friends go there. It was a tough decision. It really was. But at the end of the day, I wanted to stay in Omaha, and I couldn't pass it up. So, yep. You need to repent of your sin. Yeah. Appreciate that, Matt. Yeah. Yep. Bushidi, is he a senior? Yes, Bushidi is a senior. This is last year of eligibility. Yes, it is. Yep. I will tell you this about Creighton, Nebraska, though. I was at the Creighton game when they beat number 1 UConn. I stormed the court. Nebraska, I remember watching us beat Purdue number 1. Both of those teams, guys, pretty successful in basketball. So both of those teams had some great moments last year. So I'm a super big fan of both. But yeah, you have been blessed. Get your degree. Keep having intel on Huskers. We have your back. Thank you, man. Thank you, Darren. Again, you guys know the deal. You guys know the deal. Nebraska first. I'll make you guys a deal. I will make you guys a deal right now. If I ever post a Creighton video on this channel, specifically Creighton, only about Creighton, I will delete my channel on the spot. I'll delete it. Just because I respect you guys so much, I will do it. But that can assure you that it will stay Huskers 24/7 for the foreseeable future. But yeah, had to announce that to you guys. So yeah, pretty funny stuff. All right, guys, man, this has been a longer live stream. We're about that 90-minute mark, so keep putting stuff in the comment section about whatever you want to talk about. We'll see if we can go a couple more minutes here talking about the spring game, talking about whatever, right? So just put stuff in the comment section. I'll try to get to it. But guys, I mean, the next couple months, they're going to be pretty crazy when it comes to content, right? Let's start to outlook what content's going to look like. So spring practice is over. Spring practice is not coming back. We will never have spring practice for another year. Fall ball will not start up again until, let's say, like late July. I think it's the last week of July fall ball starts. So we really will have not much to talk about on this channel besides recruiting, besides transfer portal, besides game planning. With that being said, man, we're going to have so much planned throughout this stuff. The film reactions, we're going to have one of those per week. We're going to be breaking down Nebraska commits, Nebraska people who again, we actually, what am I even talking about, guys? We're going to have a Nebraska film review every single week about a Nebraska commit, guys who are interested in Nebraska. There we go. Holy crap. Sometimes I just get carried away. So that's once a week. We're going to have a recruiting video a lot. We're going to be talking about transfer portal stuff. We're going to be outlooking this year for Nebraska. So opponent previews, positional previews, insider info if I get any. So, yep, absolutely. We're gonna have a lot of stuff planned. And I'm going to tell you this. this is going to be your premier place for Nebraska football this offseason. If it already has been, thank you very much. But I'm posting almost every single day, guys. It is a little bit of a grind, but it's worth it, dude. I love interacting with you guys. You know, on a completely personal note, I have done YouTube for almost 2 years now. I did not get my break until December. Really, it was January when I started basically posting every day. I made a commitment to post every single day, and my channel just blew up. So I just want to thank you guys. For basically all the support that you guys give me. I mean, like, you know, if you have my notifications on, you're liking that video, it just helps me so much. You guys have no idea. If you're commenting on these videos, it helps me so much. I just love the support. That's why I love YouTube, is just building this community. So I want to thank you guys. And trust me, we're not going anywhere anytime soon. I'm aiming for about 4 or 5 videos a week. We're keeping up the consistency. There's just so much to talk about. So hopefully y'all stick with me. But let's get back to the comment section here. 24/7 network, you joining? Like on the staff? No, I'm not joining on the staff. As for membership, I do have a membership right now, but we'll see there. We will wipe your channel. Oh, come on, Darren. Daniel. Fred's basketball teams are getting better every year. Watch for him to start dominating Creighton. Yeah, I've actually been a little disappointed with Nebraska throughout the portal so far, specifically for basketball. I thought they haven't gained as much as they lost, but yeah, Fred's looking good, man. I'm super excited about the future for Nebraska, but Creighton, dude, Creighton's good too. I mean, Creighton made the Sweet 16 last year. They've been consistently one of the better teams in the country, so hit that thumbs button for this fine young man. Thank you very much, man. Thank you. All right. We are getting to the end stages. Everybody, make sure, again, put some final parting thoughts in the comment section below here. Anything else to add? And then we can get out of here. But remember this, folks. I have a video tomorrow coming out about, let's say noon, let's say 11 a.m. We're going to be talking about Nebraska versus Colorado. It's a very hyped up video. I honestly, when I made that video that I'm going to release tomorrow, I went off on a crazy tangent, dude. I don't like Deion Sanders, so you'll find out tomorrow. It's one of those videos I really like making. So, yep. Deion says, I didn't realize you talked about recruiting videos and few. Do I notice them? I checked out. My goodness. Hold on. I didn't realize you talked about recruiting videos. I noticed I check out your channel first on recruiting. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And again, it's something I talked about previously in this live stream, right? Nebraska YouTube, I think, is really good. But nobody talks about recruiting, like Corn Craze, right? I love Corn Craze. I watch his videos. I think he does a spectacular job. But he said time and time again he does not follow recruiting, right? The Backseat Sports guys, I've watched them since I was in middle school. You know, it's kind of crazy. They don't talk recruiting, right? But I really try to fill that hole on Husker YouTube, and I talk recruiting all the time. It's like a game within a game. It's like college football within college football. So. Again, this is the first place to go for Nebraska recruiting. We talk about it all the time. So, and we're only getting started, man. This is going to be a crazy summer for the channel. Man, thank you. Thank you, man. Thank you. Didn't we have a tight end in Teddy Bear? Why are we going after Lofton? Yeah, so we recently, we got that Bear commit, but we're going to probably land one more. You know how Rhule likes to get tight ends. We're probably going to land, one more tight end. I think Chase Lofton is the real deal. He's a new Millard South kid. I see him in the hallway all the time at Millard South. He looks the part. He's about as tall as me. I don't know if you can tell this line, but I am pretty tall. I'm about 6'3". He's about my height. But yeah, Chase Lofton's the real deal. He's honestly better than Bear is. So yeah, we're going to get those two. And I think if Chase Lofton does not come to Nebraska, which I think is actually a real possibility because of the way Kansas State and Florida State is recruiting him, we'll probably get Raymond Ziebert, which is another in-state Nebraska tight end. But actually, I want to mention that about Chase Lofton because I think the preconceived notion about him is that he's a Nebraska lock. But I have a couple insider bits because I go to Millard South. Florida State's after him hard, man. Florida State is after him very, very hard. Kansas State's after him hard. I'd say those two are probably the favorites right now. So, yeah. Yep, but we're going after him hard, dude. Justin says, love the stream, brother. Got out, jump off, man. Appreciate you, Justin. Again, everybody, make sure to subscribe to him. We have so much planned between me and him. We're going to have a bunch of collaborations. People loved our spring game previews. I had one on my channel, one on his channel. So just let us know. Like, if you want to see collaboration video between us, if you have an idea, make sure to comment that on either of our channels, because I really respect what Justin's doing. Again, he's the other guy who's talking about recruiting extensively on his channel. So make sure to subscribe. He's doing a great job. So, yep. And I think that'll be a good call for me to hop off as well, guys. So that's going to do it. That is going to do it for the stream. Again, if you want to put anything, last parting thoughts in here, hey, I want to thank you for watching the stream. If you're just joined, or if you've watched the entire way, trying to do some more of these film reactions throughout the summer, or not film reactions, live videos throughout the summer. So if you like that, make sure to let me know. But yeah, let's see if anybody has anything left to say. Great live chat. Yeah, I mean, the live chat was awesome today, man. You guys really make the stream what it is. Like, to be completely fair, like I can sit up here and talk, but the fact that we have all these questions coming in, people, talking to each other within the live, it makes it awesome, and that's what I love about the Nebraska fan base. So yeah, guys, I'm gonna hop off tonight. You guys should do it every week. We might have to. Stay tuned, everybody. But we'll see you guys. We will see you in the next one. Again, make sure to be here for tomorrow's video, Nebraska versus Colorado preview. I don't want to spoil everything. One of the most proud videos I've had in a long time. I really, really like the way it turned out. So I'm gonna post that around noon, 11 o'clock Central. So watch out for that. But guys, this is me signing out here on the Wilson Sports page. Hey, as always, folks, go Big Red, go Matt Rhule, and see you in the next one. Almost spilled my water. See ya.